The landlord quietly entered the kitchen and stole the only pot of soup a poor family had to eat. Mama Tola stood outside her small room, fanning the firewood with a weak hand. The smoke entered her eyes, but she did not complain. All she kept saying in her heart was, "At least my son will eat today." Inside the pot was a small soup. Not big, not rich, just a little. But it meant everything. Her son, Tola, sat on the floor, holding his stomach. "Mama, is the food ready?" he asked in a soft, tired voice. Mama Tola forced a smile. "Very soon, my child. Just wait small." That food was the only thing they had after a whole day of suffering. No breakfast, no lunch, only hope for that one pot. After some time, Mama Tola stepped outside to fetch a little water, but in that short moment, everything changed. When she came back, she looked at the stove. She blinked once, then twice. The pot was gone. My pot," she whispered. She rushed forward, checking everywhere like maybe her eyes were lying. But no, it was true. The soup was gone. Her legs became weak. She slowly sat on the floor. Tola looked at her with innocent eyes. "Mama, where is the food?" Mama Tola could not speak. Her lips trembled. Tears gathered in her eyes. Tola's voice began to shake. "Mama, I am hungry." That one sentence broke her heart completely. She pulled him close and hugged him tight. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry," she cried softly. That night, there was no food, only tears, and the painful sound of a hungry child crying in the dark. The night was quiet, but inside Mama Tola's room, there was no peace. Tola slept on the floor, turning from side to side. Even in his sleep, his small body could not rest well. Hunger was disturbing him. From time to time, he would whisper, "Mama, food." Mama Tola sat beside him, watching her son suffer. Her eyes were red and swollen from crying. She had not slept at all. She placed her hand gently on his head and whispered, "My child, please forgive me." But deep inside her heart, something was burning. Who could do this? Who could take food from a hungry child? The answer was closer than she thought. In that same compound lived the landlord. Mr. Bello. Everyone knew him, not for kindness, not for love, but for wickedness. Mr. Bello was a man who had money, but no heart. He lived in a bigger part of the compound, with bright lights and enough food to eat every day. But still, he was never satisfied. Tenants feared him. If you were late to pay rent, he would shout at you in front of everyone. If your child made noise, he would insult you. If you begged for time, he would laugh at your pain. People used to whisper, "That man, his heart is harder than stone." Some even said they had lost small things before, food, money, even clothes, but no one ever had proof. And because they were poor, they kept quiet, because in that compound, speaking against Mr. Bello meant trouble. That same night, while Mama Tola and her son cried in hunger, Mr. Bello sat inside his room. Bright light, full plate of food, peaceful face. He ate quietly, as if nothing had happened, as if he did not just take the only food a poor woman and her child had, as if the tears of a hungry child meant nothing. He wiped his mouth, leaned back, and smiled to himself. Outside, a child cried from hunger. Inside, a man felt no guilt, and that was the kind of landlord Mr. Bello was, a man who could sleep well, even after stealing food from a hungry child. Morning came slowly, but it did not bring any joy. The sun rose, shining softly into Mama Tola's small room, but inside, everything still felt heavy. Mama Tola had not slept. Her body was tired, but her heart was even more tired. Tola woke up quietly. He did not smile like other children. He did not run around. He just sat up and looked at his mother. "Mama, is there food this morning?" he asked gently. That question again. It pierced her heart. Mama Tola forced herself to smile, even though tears were already gathering in her eyes. Not yet, my child. Just wait small, okay? Tola nodded slowly, but his eyes said everything. He was still hungry. Mama Tola stood up and began to search the room. She opened old containers, empty bowls, even small nylon bags, hoping to find something. Anything. Nothing. Not even a grain. She stepped outside, her wrapper loose around her waist, her face tired and pale. She went to one neighbor. Please, do you have a little food I can borrow? I will return it. The woman looked at her, then slowly shook her head. I don't have. She went to another. Please, even small Gary. No, Mama Tola. Things are hard. Door after door, voice after voice, rejection after rejection. Some people felt pity, but nobody helped. Mama Tola walked back slowly, her legs weak. As she entered the compound, she noticed something strange. Some people were looking at her. Not normal looks, whispers, side glances, silence. It felt like they knew something. She stopped and looked around. Did anyone see who took my pot of soup yesterday? She asked softly. Nobody answered. One woman quickly looked away. Another pretended to be busy. The air became tense. Mama Tola's heart began to beat fast. Why is everyone quiet? What are they hiding? She stepped closer, her voice shaking now. Please, that food was for my child. Still, no one spoke. The truth was there, but fear was stronger than words. Mama Tola felt her strength leave her body again. She turned slowly and walked back to her room. Inside, Tola was sitting quietly, waiting, hoping. Mama Tola looked at him, and this time she could not hold it anymore. Tears rolled down her face. There is no food, she whispered. Tola did not cry loudly. He just lowered his head. And that silence was even more painful than crying. That afternoon, the compound was quiet, but not peaceful. Mama Tola sat outside her room, staring at the ground. She had no strength left, no food, no hope, just silence. Tola lay beside her, too weak to even play. People passed by, but nobody stopped. Nobody spoke. It was as if fear had covered everyone's mouth, but not everyone. Across the compound, a small girl stood behind a wall, watching Mama Tola. Her name was Said. Her small hands held her dress tightly. Her heart was beating fast. Because she knew the truth, she had seen everything. The night before, Said had come out quietly to use the bathroom. The compound was dark, and everywhere was silent. But as she walked, she noticed something strange. A shadow. A man moving slowly, carefully, like someone who did not want to be seen. She hid behind the wall and watched. Her eyes widened. It was Mr. Bello. He looked around left and right, then quietly entered Mama Tola's kitchen. Sade's heart started beating faster. What is he doing? She wondered. Moments later, he came out, holding the pot, the same pot of soup. Said covered her mouth in shock. She could not believe it. A landlord, stealing from his own tenant. He walked away quickly, like a thief in the night. And just like that, he disappeared. Sade stood there, frozen. She wanted to shout. She wanted to call someone. But fear held her down. What if he sees me? What if he gets angry? So she kept quiet. All night, she could not sleep. And now, seeing Mama Tola sitting there in pain, something inside her began to hurt. Her small heart could not carry the secret anymore. She took one step forward, then stopped. Fear. She stepped back again. Then she looked at Tola, lying weak and hungry. Tears filled her eyes. She whispered to herself, "This is not right." Slowly, shaking, Sade began to walk towards Mama Tola. Each step was heavy. Each step was full of fear, but also full of courage, because sometimes even a small child can carry a big truth. The evening came again. just like the day before. But this time, the hunger felt worse. The sun was setting slowly, painting the sky orange. But inside Mama Tola's room, everything felt dark. Tola lay on the floor, his small body weak. He did not even have the strength to talk much anymore. "Mama," he called softly. Mama Tola quickly moved closer. "Yes, my child." "My stomach. It hurts." Those words hit her like a heavy stone. She placed her hand gently on his stomach, rubbing it slowly, like it would take the pain away. I know," she whispered, her voice breaking. But she could not fix it, because there was still no food, not even water strong enough to calm the hunger. She looked around the room again, hoping maybe something would appear, but the room was empty, completely empty. Her eyes fell on the stove, the same place where the pot of soup once stood. That memory came back strong, the hope, the small joy, then the sudden loss. Tears rolled down her cheeks again. "How can someone be so wicked?" she cried softly. Tola turned slowly and looked at her. "Mama, will we eat tomorrow?" he asked in a weak voice. Mama Tola froze. She opened her mouth, but no words came out, because she did not know the answer. Instead, she pulled him close and held him tightly. "Yes, we will eat," she said, finally, even though her heart was not sure. Tola nodded slowly and rested his head on her chest. After some time, he stopped talking, he stopped moving, he slowly fell asleep. But it was not a peaceful sleep. It was the sleep of hunger, the kind of sleep where the body is tired, but the stomach is still crying. Mama Tola watched him quietly. She did not sleep. She could not sleep. All she could do was sit there, in the silence, listening to the night, and holding her hungry child close. Tears dropped one after another, and in that small, dark room, there was no food, only pain, only tears, and a mother's broken heart. Morning came again, but this time something felt different. Not better, just heavier. Mama Tola sat quietly, her back against the wall. Her eyes looked empty, like someone who had cried too much and had no tears left. Tola was still lying down. He did not even ask for food this time. That silence, that quiet acceptance. It hurt even more. Outside, people moved around like a normal day. Buckets clanged, voices spoke, life continued. But for Mama Tola, time felt stuck. Then, a small shadow appeared at the door. "Mama Tola!" a soft voice called. Mama Tola looked up slowly. It was Said. She stood there, holding her hands tightly, her body shaking a little. Her eyes were full of fear, but also something else. Truth. "Yes, my child," Mama Tola replied weakly. Said stepped inside slowly. She looked at Tola, lying weak on the floor, her eyes filled with tears. She looked away quickly, as if the sight was too painful to face. "Mama Tola," she said again, her voice trembling. I want to tell you something." Mama Tola sat up straight. Something in her heart moved. "What is it?" she asked softly. Zaid swallowed hard. Her small hands tightened even more. She looked toward the door, then back at Mama Tola, as if she was making sure no one was listening. Then, in a low, shaking voice, she said, "I saw who took your soup." The room became still, completely still. Mama Tola's heart began to beat fast. You saw?" she whispered. Said nodded slowly. Tears rolled down her cheeks. It was Mr. Bello." Mama Tola froze. Her eyes widened in shock. "Mr. Bello?" she repeated, almost not believing it. Said nodded again, now crying. "I saw him that night. He came quietly. He looked around. Then he carried your pot and went away." Her voice broke. "I was scared. I wanted to talk, but I was afraid." Mama Tola did not speak. She just sat there, staring. The truth had finally come out. And it hurt more than she expected. A landlord, a man with enough, stealing from someone with nothing. Her hands slowly covered her face. Tears began to fall again. Not just tears of pain this time, but tears of shock. "Why?" she whispered. "Why would he do this to us?" Said stepped closer. "I'm sorry, Mama Tola. I'm sorry I didn't talk before." Mama Tola quickly reached out and pulled her into a gentle hug. "No, my child. It's not your fault," she said softly. "You are brave. Very brave." Said held on to her, still shaking, for the first time since everything happened. Mama Tola was not alone in her pain. The truth was now out. But with that truth came a new feeling. Not just sadness, not just pain, but something else. A quiet fire, a strength rising slowly inside her. Because now, she knew who had done it, and something deep in her heart said, "This time, I will not keep quiet." That same day, Mama Tola did something nobody expected. She stood up. Slowly, but firmly. Her body was still weak. Her eyes were still tired. But inside her, something had changed. She was no longer just a helpless woman. She was a mother who had reached her limit. She looked at Tola, lying quietly on the mat. "My child, I'm coming," she said softly. Then she stepped outside. The sun was hot, but she did not feel it. Her heart was beating fast. Each step she took toward Mr. Bellow's house felt heavy. But she did not stop. People in the compound began to notice. "Mama Tola, where are you going?" one woman asked. She did not answer. She kept walking. Her wrapper moved with the wind. Her face was serious. Her eyes carried pain and courage. Soon she stood in front of Mr. Bellow's door. She paused, took a deep breath. Then, knock, knock, knock. There was silence for a moment. Then the door opened slowly. Mr. Bellow stood there, clean clothes, calm face, as if he had done nothing wrong. He looked at her with slight annoyance. "What do you want?" he asked coldly. Mama Tola swallowed hard, but she did not step back. "You took my soup," she said quietly. Mr. Bellow's face changed for a second, then quickly returned to normal. "What nonsense are you saying?" he replied sharply. Mama Tola's hands shook, but her voice remained. "I know it was you. Someone saw you." Mr. Bellow laughed, a dry, mocking laugh. "Who saw me, eh?" he said, folding his arms. "You people like to accuse people because you are poor." By now, some tenants had started gathering. They stood at a distance, watching. Nobody spoke. Mama Tola looked around briefly, then faced him again. "My child slept hungry," she said, her voice breaking. "That food was all we had." Mr. Bellow's face became harder. "And so, is that my problem?" he replied. That sentence, it hit everyone. A small murmur passed through the crowd. Mama Tola's eyes filled with tears again, but this time she did not cry like before. This time, her pain had strength. "You are our landlord," she said. "You are supposed to protect us, not steal from us." Mr. Bellow stepped forward angrily. "Be careful what you say," he shouted. "Do you have proof? Or you just want to spoil my name?" The compound became very quiet. All eyes were watching. Mama Tola turned slowly and looked at the people. Her voice became louder now. "Please, tell the truth," she said. "If you know anything, speak." Silence. Heavy silence. People looked at each other. Fear was still there, but something else had started to grow. Courage. A woman in the crowd shifted. Another cleared her throat. Mr. Bellow looked around nervously now. "See, nobody is talking," he said quickly, "because you are lying." But Mama Tola stood her ground. She did not move. She did not look away, because deep inside her, she knew the truth was no longer alone. And at that moment, the air changed, because sometimes All it takes is one brave voice to wake up many others. The compound was silent, but it was not the same silence as before. This time it felt heavy, like something was about to break. Mama Tola stood still, her eyes moving from one face to another. "Please, speak," she said again, her voice soft but strong. For a moment, no one moved. Then, a small voice came from behind. "It's true." Everyone turned. It was Sade. Her body was shaking, but she stepped forward anyway. "I saw him," she said, pointing slowly at Mr. Bello. "He took the pot that night." A deep silence fell again. Mr. Bello's face changed. "You stupid girl! What are you saying?" he shouted angrily. Sade stepped back in fear, but she did not take back her words. "I saw you," she repeated, tears running down her cheeks. That was it. Something broke. A woman in the crowd spoke next. I have also lost food before," she said quietly. Another man nodded. "My money went missing last month. I thought it was my mistake." Another voice. "My child's slippers disappeared one day." More voices began to rise, one after another. Small stories, hidden pain, secrets people had been keeping for a long time, all pointing to one person, Mr. Bello. The crowd grew stronger. Their fear began to fade. Their voices became louder. "You have been doing this for a long time. We kept quiet because we were afraid. But this is too much." Mr. Bello looked around. His calm was gone. His confidence was shaking. "You people are lying," he shouted. "You want to gang up against me." But now, nobody was listening to him anymore, because the truth was standing in the open, clear, strong, unshaken. Mama Tola looked around, her eyes full of tears. But this time, they were not just tears of pain, they were tears of relief. She was not alone anymore. The truth had finally come out, and it was louder than fear. The same people who once kept quiet were now speaking. The same voices that were once hidden were now rising together. And in that moment, Mr. Bello was no longer the powerful man everyone feared. He was just a man